Tools and advice, yeah, you're gonna get them, hun. You're gonna sit back, listen to Mark Simpson. Whoa, having a blast. Gonna get it on the Bruce Lee podcast. Bruce Lee like Bruce Lee, cause it's so hard and the T is loose leaf. Making up those rhymes, don't write it, just do it loosely. If you want my respect, you better put direct. Here are the words in the podcast, that's what comes next.
All right, good morning.
Oh, I'm not supposed to dance to that?
You can do whatever you want, Mr. Faeth, whatever you like. But welcome to the podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome wherever you're tuning in from around the world. And we are streaming on Instagram as well, which is very cool. Brand new feature within Restream. You can now stream on Instagram. I tried to get to TikTok, but it wouldn't let me. But here we are. We're going all around the networks because I want to get everybody who is a part of the Boostly world to think about one thing and one thing only, and that is the STR Wealth event that's happening in Nashville in February. Very, very excited about this. And I wanted to get Bill in just to talk about the event and just to basically just lay it out at what is going to be coming up. But before we do talk about what is coming up, I'd like to just go back to what has been. So talked about 2022, just cast your mind back there, Bill, if you don't mind. What was the inspiration for putting on this event in 2022? Why did you think it was needed, and what was the sort of the afterthoughts or the after effect of the ripples of the industry that happened on the back end, if you don't mind?
You know, it's something that I've always wanted to do. I wanted to host a massive conference prior to the 2022 conference, iteration number one. The largest one that I personally had done with Chris was about 550 to 600 people. Going to 1,000 is completely different. This year, going to 3,000 is even a whole nother animal. It's kind of honestly, it was a manifestation out of Clubhouse that you and I participated in with all our friends now that are the educators and the coaches and the influencers, the Sean Raskoviches and Julie and Noble and TJ and all these different people. And if there was a way that we could bring them together to educate, because there wasn't even that many events going on. I was doing boot camps for like 100, 150 people, but nobody was really doing that many live events. And it's interesting because I reached out to Airbnb first, because you remember they did 2 events back in the day for the old schoolers that have been around for a while. And you know, I just kept getting every door shut down. So really, I've got Chris on my team who is experienced in producing these events. I've done them, and just we wanted to put it together as an educational, piece. But we wanted to make it fun and interesting. I think that's where I'm a little bit different. It's not in a boring conference room. It's not at a boring hotel. We will be at a convention center this year, but we started in the music venue, as you were there both years. We want it to be part rock show. We want it to be, you know, like you're going into a Taylor Swift or a Guns N' Roses concert. We want the energy. We want it to be electric. And there's 2 reasons for that. We want people to have fun, but also when you are engaged and you are releasing dopamine and endorphins, you pay closer attention as opposed to walking into a boring hotel conference room. So there's a tremendous amount of intention of how we build out the experience at this event, so that way our attendees can get the most out of it.
I definitely think you hit every single aspect of it. I remember first walking into the saloon on the first night when we're doing the welcome party, and knowing full well that 24 hours later I was going to be speaking on that event, and it hit me hard, like the imposter syndrome kicked in, because it was a huge venue, 1,000 people, went straight up, massive stage. There was a dancing robot on the stage. It was amazing. And you're right, for that whole sort of felt like it was a blur, but it was like over 2 days. It was so impactful, and I think that's why the ripples in the industry came on the back of it, because there are a lot of educational events, but there was nothing that was fun first, education second, and you guys like did so well. So that was year 1. What was the thinking then behind year 2, which was 2023, which was this year? What was the sort of the thinking about what you wanted to achieve this year, and how did you achieve it?
It's just like in my investing strategy, Mark. I'm always trying to forecast 3 deals down the road. I don't just think about the next investment. So when we decided to pull the trigger on year number 1, we were already planning year number 2. And if you remember, we released the next dates, and the same with year number 2 leading into year number 3 coming up in February. So there was this natural progression, but to be perfectly honest, year number 2 had to stay in that same venue so we could bank some money. So it's we did year number one, then we did the Miami smaller retreat, and then we went into year number two. Because this year was our go big year. We're tripling from 1,000 to 3,000 attendees. We're going from 10 sponsors to an entire vendor, kind of, I don't even know what to call it, a vendor showcase. We're going to have like 70 different, vendors that are going to be there, from AI and Dell Technologies to Wayfair, these massive companies. It's not just our PMSs. They're all going to be there too. So it's going to cost close to $2 million to put on this event, Mark. So I told Sjogren, I said, I want to have at least $700,000, $800,000 in cash before we decide to move to the big event. Because what most people don't understand is the risk when you put on a live event like this, excuse me, is most of them fail and they don't become profitable until year 5 or year 6. And we were not in a position to go in and put on a mega event like this and lose $1 million. So year number 2 had to stay in that same venue. We banked cash. Mike and I pulled no money out of this event. We reinvest every penny back into the event to where we could sleep at night as we're planning this event. And it's tough, man. There's no way anybody could pull something off like this without the sponsors. And I mean, the Wayfarers, the STR Insights, our title sponsor, the Casagos, the Dell Technologies. I mean, when you have Wayfair and Dell Technologies coming in, and these mega, like Fortune 1000, Fortune 500 companies, you're doing something right? So that's what I'm pretty excited. I mean, even to have companies like Casago, who live in a different world, and like that VRMA world, right, to come over, it's kind of gratifying to where hopefully we're doing something right.
I definitely think you're doing something right, 100% doing something right, because we were both at Verma, and there was a lot of people coming up to you, who were probably from the traditional Verma world, and they were coming up to your stand and chatting to yourself about basically STR Wealth coming up in 4 months later in Nashville. So it's definitely caught the attention. What I loved about your events, and specifically this year, and the one that's coming up, is that you're not afraid to bring people from outside of the industry into the conference. And this year we had Mike Michalowicz, obviously a massive draw, somebody that I'm a big personal fan of, and there's so many people who are big fans of. And if they didn't hear about him before the event, they definitely knew about him afterwards. And so it sort of went from there. And then this year coming up then, so let's talk about February 2024. Talk about the people that you've got coming in to speak, because it's not everybody from the industry. You're bringing people from outside the industry in that's going to help educate our short-term rental and medium-term rental hosts.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. So like we talk about banking the cash. I mean, getting a guy like Damon John as your keynote, it ain't cheap by any means. And that was a huge risk. And we had to do that before we even ran last year's conference. So if we make a mistake last year, it's going to be double impactful on the negative side. So Damon John, well, why would I want to listen to Damon John? Because Damon John's built a $1 billion empire through over 100 different companies, businesses. He is a real estate investor. And the coolest thing about this is going to be user-generated content. Damon's not coming to deliver a keynote. Michael flank Damon on one side. I'm going to be on the other side. This is going to be a Q&A from the audience's questions for Damon John, something that he rarely does. And honestly, we had to pay a premium for him to do that and not do a keynote. Bringing in, I don't want to say I'm more excited about anybody than anybody else, but there's one guy, Hank Norman, who is the quintessential media mogul on how to build personal brands. Because we all need to build a personal brand, whether it's for us as an individual or it's for our individual properties or our brand that we're building with our portfolio. And he is about the why before the why and the storytelling. And it's worked he's had a couple of successful clients. I mean, he's had a guy like Grant Cardone. His agency single-handedly created 10X and then built Grant's brand. Mel Robbins for the ladies that are out there. Steve Harvey, for those of you comedian, now, host of Family Feud. Judge Pirro. And literally about 80% of the coaches in the coaching world, from Tony Robbins down, have been groomed and built by Hank Norman. And so he's going to teach people how to build a personal brand. And then I haven't said this to anybody. We haven't even released it yet, Mark. Sean Mike, billion-dollar builder as well, who's going to be speaking on day number 1. Angie Wisdom. I mean, how about a name like Angie freaking Wisdom? How to break the ceiling specifically for women. She's doing a woman's only workshop after she speaks on the first day, which we haven't announced, which is going to be absolutely amazing. Hank is going to be doing a private workshop. We haven't announced this yet. Your Loosely Podcast first announcement on that Tuesday night for 150 people. That will be a ticketed item. You will want to be in that workshop. Sean Mike will be in there. Angie Wisdom will be in there. Bill Faeth will be in there. Jeff Hampton will be in there. All clients of Hank Norman, right? To where if you really want to get those secrets, you're going to want to be inside of that workshop. So the reason I believe these things are important is, and we haven't even talked about Pace Morby, who's really technically not in the short-term rental industry, Mr. Sub 2. One of the reasons I think that I've been successful in 21 of 29 startups, not counting my STR portfolio that I own, is I've been exposed to a lot of different people as mentors, as influencers, as coaches to get different perspectives. And one of the things that I don't like, if it's just you and me and Mike and Noble and Sean, it's just the STR guys that are in there. We need these perspectives from other people that have been successful in other aspects of life and outside businesses to influence us, because that's how we bring new thoughts, new executions, new into our industry.
I think for a lot of people that are going to be coming back for 2024, the ones that have been to maybe 2023 and or 2022, I think they're going to be amazed at the sheer scale of this. You sort of drew me out in the backstage at Nashville in the saloon, what this venue is going to look like. And it was crazy just for me to sort of visualize it, but I feel it's going to hit for a lot of people. What are you most looking forward to from your own personal perspective of 2024, maybe compared to what you could do in 2023 or what you could do at the saloon in 2022?
I mean, just the simplicity. Remember how many times I'd yell at people to stop talking in the back of the Wild Horse Saloon because we had 1,000 people crammed inside of there?
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be walking into a Taylor Swift concert. That's what it is. It's going to be massive. You're going to have 3,000 seats. There's going to be plenty of room to walk around. There's specific networking areas that we have set up in other rooms. We have breakout rooms. We're having 20 breakout sessions on Monday and Tuesday. 20. You're going to have revenue management. You're going to have Noble. You're going to have midterm rentals with Dr. Rachel Gainsbourg. You've got me and my wife, how to build super properties. You've got marketing. You've got everything in these breakout sessions. So it's not just one room. As I said earlier, it's very intentional. So literally, we almost verbatim have copied Taylor's stage of how it comes out into the crowd. So it's an immersive experience. And we're setting the seating in a semicircle to where it's not coming straight back. And then we're going to have these 8 by 16 foot LED boards that go out into the crowd to where you can look up if your view is blocked and you're inside of the LED boards, to where it's this immersive, type of experience. It's not a flat stage with one screen over here and one screen over here. And when you got me at 6'6" sitting in front of you, you're going like this and you can't see. So everything is intentional. What do I want to get out of this, Mark? I want people to walk out of that jacked up, already executing and say, this is the best fucking event I've ever been to in my life.
Wow, I'm excited already. So strwealthconference.com, make sure you go check it out. Make sure you put the reg code of Mark, all caps, M-A-R-K, and when you do, and we're going to be doing a lot of promotion about this in January. I'm looking forward to flying out. I've got the tickets already. Get in on the Saturday, Sunday to recover, shake the jet lag. And I'm there all day, Monday, Tuesday. Got 2 sessions we're going to be doing. Can we talk about them? Can we talk about the one with Libby, etc.?
Yeah, 100%. You've got a 4-hour pre-conference workshop on Monday. What are you going to be dropping in there?
Well, so Libby Hayes, anybody who hasn't heard of Libby, please make sure you check out Bill's Marketing Monday podcast, because you get Libby and Chris involved on that. And she does share her knowledge. I'm looking forward for her to be part and running a session with her. We're going to be chatting in a couple of weeks' time, putting a big proper plan down for these 4-hour sessions. We're going to be talking obviously about the lovely direct bookings, tap into her experience with Facebook ads. And we're going to talk about every element when it comes to marketing. So we're going to go over the 5 pillars. And I'm really excited. 4 hours. We did a 4-hour session, yourself and I, this year. And I was thinking before I was driving to the venue, I was like, 4 hours, man, that's going to be a lot. But it absolutely flew by. Yeah, it flew by. It was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward again to doing another one with Libby. So that's going to be a Monday. Now, so that is a special ticketed event outside of the main ticket. Is that right?
Yeah, so that's pre-conference on Monday. There's 4 workshops. There's Mark's marketing workshop. I'm doing the beginner 0 to 5, kind of rookie to intermediate, everything you need to know to be able to scale. Mike Sjogren's doing boutique hotels and how to scale out of your W-2. And then we have a revenue management session as well with the 3 of the top best revenue managers in the industry. They are an additional ticket. They're about 50-60% of the way sold out on average for all of them. Make sure you get those. Then we'll go into, we've got one thing, and you talk about the other venue, and this year, Mark, we have not been able to really execute in the first 2 years high-level networking. So this year we have 2 hours of networking from 5 to 7 before we go into the opening party. And we're going to have 2 of those sessions. We're having one on Monday before the party, another one that's going to happen on Tuesday with a lot of intention. Day number 1 is going to be by geography, which I think is going to be super cool. So if you ever walk into, Heathrow or Orlando Airport and they've got those signs and with your name on it or, Mark's Vacations, come here. We're going to have that same thing with like the Smokies or, UK or whatever it is. So you can go find your tribe. The second one is going to be based on size and type of business type that you're in. So we're going to have the arbitrage. We're going to have the co-host. We're going to have, the ownership, the multifamily, all of those different things, which I think is super cool.
That's cool. And I know last year we had 2 people fly over from the UK, apart from myself. I know this year we've got at least 4 flying in to this event because the word has spread. So it's going to be awesome. We need to have a little UK, little networking corner for sure. And then the second session I'm going to be doing is on AI, which is going to happen on the Tuesday, I believe, in one of those breakout rooms. So again, looking forward to sharing some of the latest.
And so I don't know if I've shared this with you, Mark, but just for you and everybody else, those breakout rooms aren't 25 people. There's 300 seats in each breakout room. And that will be first come, first serve. So if you want to see Mark's AI session, make sure that you get in there quickly.
Amazing. So the full schedule and all of that will be posted up on strwealthconference.com. Make sure you keep checking back because every time I keep checking out that domain, something new gets thrown in there. So there's more information that's going to be obviously rolled out. Like Bill says, we're going to be teasing little bits that's going to be coming up over the next couple of weeks. But I think the main thing is make sure the first week in February, make sure that you are in Nashville outside of the conference as well. One thing I love about Nashville is that most locations that you go to, whether it's Orlando or anywhere else around the world, when you come out of the conference, you're all scattered. Everybody's staying like 30, 40, 50 minutes away, and it's really hard to sort of have a post-event drink, etc. But the big good thing about Nashville, you come out and you're right there at downtown, and you've got to pick up the bars to go from, and it is a fantastic place to have it feels like a 72-hour bachelorette or a bachelor party because you're just going non-stop and it's conference.
Well, that's because you hang out with Julie so much.
Yeah, I know, right? She's a bad influence, that one. But it is a lot of fun. It really, you talk about the endorphins. Everybody goes home from that event tired but fired up. And I feel like that is the key to a really good event. You're fired up to implement into the business so then you can crack on and really set down your 2024 goals, which is why I'm excited about this being in February, because then you've got 10 more months left of 2024 to really crack on and put a dent into your business and whatever your goals are. So I'm excited. I know you're excited. I know I've chatted to Mike. Mike's excited. And there's so many other people that are coming to this event. And this is the cool thing about the event as well. And this is a key for me personally for a good event. It's not so much the venue. It's not so much the speakers. It's not so much the vendors and the sponsors. It's the people who are in the room. And the one thing I've always said about STR Wealth is that the people in the room are so unbelievably talented, more so than any other event that I go to. And they're not on stage, they're just there and they are accessible and you can go up and chat to them. And some people you'll recognize from YouTube channels and Instagrams, etc. But it's the people in the room that are unbelievable. So I'm excited to bump into friends and people from Clubhouse and all those cool things. And yeah, so roll on the first week in February. So Bill, thank you so much for coming on this. I know you're a very busy guy at the moment. And any final things you'd like to say to anybody that is watching, tuning in, and thinking about coming?
I think specifically if somebody hasn't been there, there's one last thing I totally forgot about. And this is a huge deal for me when I go to a conference. On that main stage, you're not going to be sold to. Just FYI. You're not going to see QR codes that say buy my course or buy this or whatever. We do not allow that. It's straight education and value. If you want to buy something, go connect with that person when they get off stage. Go to their booth. Go do whatever. But it is a no sell zone from that main stage. That's a huge, I don't like going, I'm sure you don't either, Mark. You go to a conference and it's pitch fest after pitch fest after pitch fest. Doesn't happen here.
Yeah. And Boostly has got a booth this year. We've been able to get one of those booths and I've lined up something pretty cool. I've been working with Robin behind the scenes and she's helped me line up something pretty special for our little booth. So make sure you do come and check it out. It's going to be a ton of fun, as always, when Boostly is involved. But Bill, thank you again so much. If anybody wants to ask any questions about the event or anything, where's the best place for people to go to before February?
STRwealthconference.com. They can hit me up on Instagram, BillFaeth73, whatever they need. Just let me know or go to Build STR Wealth.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll be back with another episode very soon.